9:13. Well, since the unrest in Ferguson, there's been a lot of talk about the militarization of law enforcement. We showed you the images of heavy armored trucks rolling in and officers using military-style equipment to control crowds in Ferguson. Police officials there say this was done to keep officers safe, but there has been criticism, and it's been brought up in a debate about police militarization of local law enforcement agencies. Well, joining me now to talk about this is Cole County Sheriff Greg White. Sheriff White, first off, thanks so much for coming on today. We really do appreciate it.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Kind of talk about where you stand on this debate that we are seeing, even on a national level, and really kind of prompted by Ferguson.
Well, I think in many ways it's an emotional response to something that one can attach to complain about law enforcement. In fact, when this process started was 1863. In 1863, the Union Ordnance Department of the U.S. Army started looking around for methodology that would improve the work in the field by their soldiers. And what they observed were the use of some interesting firearms by Western sheriffs and deputy U.S. marshals that were out west. And they were Henry and Spencer repeating firearms. At that time, the Union was using single fire, single projectile, single fire firearms. And so they procured some Henry and Spencer repeating rifles. So I really think that sheriffs are responsible for the militarization of the military. In fact, what's happened is the civilian population and the military population have gone instead throughout American history. In the Revolutionary War, the weapons used were the common weapons owned by citizens. The difference is now is most citizens don't own fully automatic weapons. As an agency, we have no fully automatic weapons. We have semi-automatic rifles, we have pump shotguns, and we have semi-automatic pistols other than the retro person, which is me, who carries a revolver.
Now, would you, so something that's kind of always been going on, but kind of brought to the forefront when people saw it there, do you think the images, it was just a lot for people to see, and that's why it was kind of a negative connotation, seeing these tanks rolling into town in Ferguson?
Well, the tanks were civilian manufactured armored vehicles. Now, I do have an armored vehicles agency, and mine is surplus from the military, which, by the way, had to be approved by the governor's office for me to obtain it through the State Department of Public Safety.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned the different guns that you have at the department, and also, so yeah, what would you consider military style in terms of the weapons and vehicles that you have at the Cole County Sheriff's Department?
I think purpose-driven is the difference. If for us the armored vehicle is used simply as a rescue vehicle, rescue in two senses. One, it allows us to take SWAT teams, tactical teams, and place them with having a free field of fire, a position where they're protected. And also, if there's people that are under fire or have been wounded citizens, we can take that vehicle up and put a barrier that's immune to the fire that it would receive and be able to extract and perhaps save that person's life. It's a rescue vehicle for law enforcement across this nation.
Yeah, helping both law enforcement and civilians.
Yes.
I also want to touch upon the NAACP march. That came from Ferguson all the way to the Capitol, so of course entering into Cole County. We didn't really have a lot of incidents with that, and security, you helped with that detail. Kind of explain how you were able to do that.
Well, I think, first of all, Rod Chappell is the director of the NAACP in Jefferson City. Rod is a fine man, and he told us, he said, everyone's going to be a lady and a gentleman, and they were. The NAACP march was without incident. Now, there was an associated group that, I say associated, they showed up at the same time. And Department of Justice tells me they tracked them from Illinois all the way into Cole County. And they started to act out. The NAACP went to them, asked them not to do that. They chose to do it anyway, so the NAACP distanced from them. They came very close to getting arrested and chose to back off at the appropriate time. Lieutenant Williams with Jeff City Police Department was the on-site commander and did as perfect of a job as I've ever seen anyone do.
Yeah, and yeah, really no incidents to report there from that.
No, it was great.
I wanted to also touch upon, we're kind of wrapping up with time, but the recent terror attacks, we've even had the latest reports, they're still looking for some suspects. You, Cole County Sheriff Greg White, you follow terrorism all over the world, you know, looking for different, you know, what's going on and keeping people updated and yourself informed. What would you say about the latest threat and what we should be concerned about, even here in Missouri?
I think the two things are, one, and this is the first primary thing always, if you see something that looks strange, it probably is, so report it. Report it to your sheriff's office, your police department, the FBI. Report it to someone. It may be nothing, but it may be something. And as you know, bin Laden used cell phones or satellite phones that were obtained here in Colombia. We've had people photographing buses in rural Iowa. For what purpose? And sometimes if we know, we're able to interdict. Interdiction's important. Watch your social presence on media. Watch your presence on Facebook, on Twitter, on any of them, on Instagram, because you reveal things about yourself that you would not in normal conversation, and what you choose to give up there is not only usable by some predator, but it's usable by a terrorist who's a predator of a whole different form.
Yeah, and certainly with this latest one, we've seen they are hacking Twitter and YouTube channels.
That's right.
So thank you so much, Sheriff.